All right, welcome to day 2 of the challenge. I'm so glad to see you guys back here, and I'm proud of you for sticking around for day 2, right? Consistency. That's awesome. Let's get right into it. I am Ashley Lorraine, M.Ed. I built a 7-figure real estate portfolio with no debt, no bank loans, and I want to teach you to do the same way. Now, if you want to use loans, you certainly can, and most people that I work with do, but I want to teach you a plan to get to freedom. So if you missed day 1, please go back and rewatch it. Today on day 2, we're going to talk about 3 main things. So my objective for you today, by the time we end our time together, is you should understand some mistakes that will completely derail any plans that you have to invest in real estate. We're also going to review what your exit strategy is. I'll talk to you about that momentarily. And then we'll talk about if you're ready. Let's talk about your readiness level. Okay, so let's get started with what I think is most important is planning with the end in mind. What is your exit strategy? Exit strategies are once you secure the house, right, and you have the property, then what? That's your exit plan. Okay, is it that you want to keep the property and collect the cash flow, which I suggest you do? Is it that you just want to hold the property as it appreciates, and then once it appreciates to a certain amount, you want to sell it or pull some equity out? Do you want to flip it? Once you acquire the house and it's nice, do you want to go ahead and just sell it to a retail buyer or to another investor? What do you want to do? What is your exit strategy? Yesterday, we talked about your life plan. I want you to rethink about your life plan, where you see yourself going, and that should be one of the main determining factors in your exit strategy. So if you're telling me that your end goal is to not have to work, to retire early, to have supplemental income, to have freedom, to have money coming in while you're on the beach and chilling, then you should be talking about buying it and holding it for high cash flow. And that is going to be my focus today. Now, if you signed up for the coaching session and you have a different exit strategy, no worries. We'll just build your blueprint around there. But I'm going to go off of what I think you should be doing based off of me not knowing you or having any conversations with you. Okay. All right. So also yesterday we talked about the Ashley method, ASHLEY. A is for assets, S is for savings is silly, H for high cash flow, L for loans are a job, E is for equity and employee, and Y is for Yaris. So please keep that in mind as we move forward. All right, so now that we have an exit in mind, which I'm going to go with high cash flow, we need to align everything that we do from now on that it should now be aligned to getting us high cash flow. Okay, same thing with the life plan I had you make yesterday. Whatever you said your life plan was, everything that you're doing in your personal life, in your business life, in your career, in your family should be lining up to what you said you want your life plan to be. You're going to start seeing some similarities here, okay? All right. So in cash flow, for instance, if your exit is cash flow, then that means you should be trying to do 2 things. You should be trying to buy a house inexpensively in cash, like $50,000, maybe 100,000. That should be your range, 50 to 100. Yes, you can go lower. The lower you go, fine. My construction team can handle it, but the more work is going to have to be. And some of you guys don't have that investor tolerance yet, that risk tolerance of full rehab. But if you go with my team, I'm telling you, they knock them out left and right. Anyway, inexpensive, buy inexpensive, and you want to also be able to get high rents. So that takes us into market. You need to understand what market you should be in. And no, it might not be where you live, okay? I have been a virtual investor my entire real estate investing career. My entire career, I have lived at least 1,500 miles away from the properties that I invest in. Okay, so no, it might not be the house next door, especially if you're like in Cali or something like that. Let me just show you an example. Somebody that I have been in communication with for a while, she's actually in this challenge. She's a realtor out in Cali, and her clients, they want to invest and get cash flow, but she's saying in that market in Cali, it's like almost impossible to do so. And I was like, girl, send it over. Let me see. Like there, it can't be that bad. Let me tell you, it's that bad. So this was the least expensive house in the zip code she sent me. She sent me this zip code. She sent me 3 zip codes, I believe, and this is one of them. My God. All right, so this was the least expensive house. You can look it up yourself. This is the least expensive house that we could find. And we looked it up. We looked up the taxes, the insurance, and the payments and things like that. Okay, so the Zestimate rent is 3108. We'll see. The Section 8 rent, which I like Section 8 rent because it's guaranteed, especially for people who want high cash flow and people who are going to be investing virtually. And for people who are new, you really need some just easy guaranteed rents. So we can look up her zip code. I think it was 990. What was it? Sorry, it was 90043. So 90043 for a 3-bedroom is paying $29.40. And if they could turn it into a 5-bedroom, it'd be 32, which is around what Zillow had already kind of estimated for this property anyway. But then let's look at the underlying loan. So I kind of started playing with this a little bit. This is good. This is a good resource. Definitely screenshot this. This is going to help you, especially if you're going to be using loans. This is going to help you actually quite a bit because you can do some pre-underwriting to see if the loan's going to make sense. So here, home price, 600,000, down payment, 120,000. When I see that, I'm like, I could buy 2 houses for that down payment, or at least one. I can buy at least one house with that down payment, but I digress. Put in taxes, insurance, HOA, no private mortgage, all of that. All right, cool. So here's the issue. If my mortgage payment is $38.35, but Section 8 only pays $29.40, that's an extra $1,000 that I have to pay per month, even when I have a renter in there. And even if you get the best and the highest, like what Zillow quoted here, which is definitely on the high end, 3108. Your mortgage payment is $38.35. So you still have to bring $700 to the table. That's after you get a renter in there. After you already had to pay $120,000 down payment. You don't even own the house because the bank still owns the house. And now you still have to pay just to have this. Are you insane? Like I could never. So this is why I tell people, do not get attached to your market. I have never, ever invested, at least with Section 8 or rental properties in my market. I do other methods in my market because my market is better for like appreciation and things like that. But all of my cash flow, 1,500 miles away. Later in our training together throughout this week, I'm going to teach you about, we're going to have a whole conversation about virtual investing, the team you need, the processes and systems that you should have in place. But when I first got started, I didn't have a team, a process, or anything, right? I just had a dream. I had a life vision and I went for it. If we were to do this same house in my market, first of all, we would be over here, right? We'd probably buy at least one. At that price point, we can buy one that's already just fully rehab, probably way better than we need it to be. So we wouldn't even need a loan. But if you were to get a loan on it, let's run the numbers. So if you bought a house for $100,000 and you got a loan, so you had to put $20,000 down, put in the property taxes, HOA, PMI, all of that, your monthly payment is $782. And in that particular zip code, it was 44128. They're paying $1,520. So you'll still make $700 in cash flow. And with a loan, that's considered high cash flow still. Now, I mean, I know it looks good with the loan, and I don't want to be counter to what I'm saying. The Ashley method works best. But if you are one of my many clients who chooses to get a loan, you still have high cash flow. High cash flow, for those who are wondering, is anything that's going to be 400 plus is considered really high, really good in terms of cash flow. Okay. So this is why your market is so important. This is why your exit strategy has to be aligned to the market. You cannot make it work. There is no way you can get this property and just try to make it work. I bought this house. Now that I have it, I gotta try to make it cash flow. It's not going to. Okay, there is no way to make this work. It's not going to work. All right, I digress. Y'all know I get a little passionate talking about all of this. So anyway, that was just to say that your exit strategy is very important and it's going to determine your market, which tomorrow we're going to hit market really, really hard, market research and virtual team. Okay, so the next thing that I need you to do is avoid these mistakes. So I'm going to go through some mistakes really quickly, and then we're going to talk about your readiness level. Okay. And actually, I'm looking at the time. I am going to, all right, I have to make this concise because I don't want to keep going over. I want to respect your time and mine. Okay. So here's some mistakes I see people make. No particular order. Number one, wrong market, like we just saw. They buy a house where they live and then they just try to make it work, and it's too late. You can't just make it work, right? You have, the market tells you what works. You don't get to tell it what works. If you could, you'd be a billionaire. Okay. The next thing that I see along with picking the wrong market is you have an unfocused exit. Meaning you're like, well, I could do cash flow, or maybe it could be like a flip, or maybe I might do appreciation. No, you need to have a firm exit because your exit has to be aligned to your market. Okay. So mistake one, wrong market. Mistake number two, you don't have a firm exit plan. You need to know that they have to be aligned. They must match. I can't say that enough. Number three, no cash flow. I've seen so many people get themselves in a situation where they get all of these loans and things like that, and it looks good on paper, right? And people are like, oh, I get the DSCR loan and the house is going to qualify. Yes, it looks really good on paper until you have to think about property management, if that's something that you want to do. Holding cost, if that, well, that is going to apply to you. You need to have reserves. Now that you have a house leverage, you're going to have lower cash flow coming in. So if an emergency pops up, you got to dig in your pocket because you're not getting that big $1,500 a month cash flow like I'm telling you to get with the cash property. Now you only maybe get $200 a month. You got to make that work somehow. Or your taxes goes up, your insurance goes up. At the time that you bought the house and got the mortgage, it wasn't that high. Well, now it is. But the rents in that area, they don't support that you can raise them high enough to cover your taxes and your insurance. And now you're over leveraged. Now you have to come and pay every single month. Yeah, people don't talk about this part, right? They like to talk about the Ferrari, dream of the, I'm gonna get all these loans. They don't talk about people who've been in here for a long time and we see what happens. Things change. There are variables when you have loans in place. Okay. Another mistake that I see people make is they do not vet their tenants well. They either hire a property management company and let them pick, or they'll choose like a leasing agent and let them pick. And that is a big no-no. Okay. At the end of the day, if the property manager picks the wrong person, they just say, oh, well, sorry, I picked the wrong person. You're stuck with them. That you are the one on the line for it. This is not like a 9 to 5 job where you can blame your manager or you can blame that employee under you who did the buck stops with you. Okay. You want to be involved in choosing the tenant. And again, later on in this challenge, we'll have a full day where we just talk about screening and vetting your tenants. And if you come to the coaching session, if you already signed up for that, you'll get my systems and my actual forms that I use. Another mistake that I see people make, where did I put my little notes on the mistakes? Oh my gosh, yes. Another mistake is that you are not checking on your general contractor. You're investing, even if you're investing next door or you're investing, like I suggest, in a market that supports the exit that you want, you're not checking your GC. You're just assuming that things are getting done and they're not. I know here in Texas, we have a big issue with contractors just not showing up anymore. Like they come and get your money, especially after these floods and natural disasters, and then you never see them again. It's like, well, what happened? Okay. Or you're not checking that your GC is staying on budget. That's happened to me before, where you're not checking the budget and you kind of get to the end like, uh-oh, I'm out of money, but we still have stuff that needs to get done. All right. So check on that. Also, if you are not using a former Section 8 inspector to help you get ready for the inspection. If you fail that inspection, that means that's more time where the tenant's not moving in. So that's more holding costs, especially if you have a loan. You still got to make the loan payment. You still got to pay all the utilities and all of that. Now, if you're doing it the way I say, the Ashley method, okay, it's probably not as much pressure. It's like, but you want it because you want it done right. My team just let me know. I told you my construction team my team is amazing. Just let me know that they're actually changing the Section 8 inspection standards. Well, we wouldn't know that if our people weren't still connected with Section 8, if they weren't former Section 8 inspectors. So you want to make sure that whoever you're working with, if you're doing a Section 8 exit, that they are well versed in the Section 8 niche. I see people make the mistake, they hesitate to make an offer. Everybody now knows that the Midwest is a very hot market. Even for those little houses that I showed you earlier on another video where they were like dilapidated, they're going quickly, right? Because people are getting smart. People are like, okay, I want to do this in cash. Everyone's kind of jumping on the Ashley train finally, probably because of all of the changes we're seeing, nationally, internationally, and with the real estate market. But make an offer. Offers do not mean that you are married to the property. It is not a contract. It is just saying that I am interested and I want to be considered for the purchase of this property. Okay. Make the offer. As soon as it's a house that makes sense, make the offer immediately. Do not hesitate. People get stuck in analysis paralysis. Oh, what if this? What if that? You haven't even thought about, you're not even buying a house yet. Why are you doing this full analysis? Make the offer. Does it hit your buy box? Make the offer. We'll talk about your buy box. Okay. Don't worry about that. And then finally, mindset. Mindset is probably the most important part that I see people make the mistake, especially if you're coming from the world of being a 9-to-5er, or like if you're very artistic, you're coming from a creative world or things like that, and you're not used to the challenges that you're going to hit in real estate investing. You have to have your mindset ready. Okay, there are 5 pillars that I talk about often just to get your mind right. And I guess we can kind of go into, we can move into readiness here as well. So just to finish off mindset as the mistake, I have a challenge for you. 2 things that I'm going to ask you to do as a challenge. It's called a thank you and an F you. Okay. Hear me out. Thank you because you want to find someone that you just want to thank, because gratitude just attracts so much goodness to you, and you need all the goodness you can get when we're starting this journey. Find somebody, call them, and randomly thank them, or write them a message, but a phone call is best. And the other one is an F you. You're going to call somebody, or you can write a letter to them and maybe not even give it to them. And you're going to tell them F you. F you as in forgive you. I forgive you. Because you can't be carrying all of that weight and all of those bags from the past. It has to go. You got to clear that stuff out so you can make room for more. I think about forgiveness as real estate. Okay, if my brain is real estate and it's a city that can only hold so many buildings, right? And the people who I haven't forgiven or who have done wrong to me, they're like the boarded up, abandoned, dilapidated buildings. I don't want that in my city. The quicker I forgive it, that means I can demolish those buildings and those old houses, get them out, and build some beautiful skyscrapers there. Okay, so I want you to do a thank you and an F you. I thank you to someone and I forgive you to someone. And the forgive you to someone doesn't even have to be to them. You can just think it, write it out, do what you need to do, and move on. But the point is, everybody says they're willing to do anything to meet their goal. They're willing to do anything to be successful. They're willing to do anything to be wealthy. They're gonna do it all until you ask them to forgive, or until you ask them to move on from the past, or until you ask them to stop being so self-critical, or until you ask them to cut off the toxic people, even if it's just momentarily, so that you can get your mind right. Or you'll do anything except forgive, or except forgive yourself. So get your mindset right. Lastly, before we hop off here, I'll just talk about the 5 pillars that I think everybody needs to show that you are ready or to commit to anything. Because let me tell you, you might be feeling motivated and excited now, that goes away. And when it goes away, these 5 pillars are going to keep you on track. Okay? So before anything else, you need to be obsessed right now. Be obsessed with your goal. So if your goal is freedom, be obsessed with freedom. And if you know this is your path to freedom, be obsessed with this path, with this blueprint. Obsessed. Dive in. Okay? Zone in. Let's just start with that. Now let's get into the 5 pillars that I believe is the root of being successful in anything. Number 1, focus. Focus is simply wherever you focus, that's where your energy is going to go. And it can't be everywhere. You need to find one focus right now. And right now, this should be it. Freedom through real estate investing. Even if it's just this one property I'm talking about with the Ashley method, focus. Because your focus should be supporting your desire, which is your life goal. So if your desire is freedom, then focus on what gets you the freedom. Okay. Number 2, organization. The brain works best when things are organized and it can take small sequential steps to get there. That is our blueprint that we're going to be putting together. So focus, organization. Once you're organized, we need to move into discipline. Discipline means 2 things. I was a principal before I was a real estate investor. Discipline means the learning of a topic, right? That is your discipline. And discipline also means doing what you need to do every day. Just doing what you need to do. When you don't feel like it, when you don't want to, when you don't feel good, you just do it anyway. It's just small little things that lead up into habits. habits like brushing your teeth, that's what discipline is. It's just helping you to build good habits. So focus, organization, discipline, which is to, right? Learning about a discipline or something that you're doing, which is right now your path to freedom through real estate investing. And then also discipline in whatever is on that plan. From organization, we're going to do it. Pillar 4, consistency. Okay, consistency. I know you hear this a lot, but consistency is key because whatever you do consistently turns into a habit. You wake up and start brushing your teeth before you even think about it. When you're driving to work, sometimes you get there, you can't even remember which highway you took because you're just so used to doing it that you just do it automatically. That's what the consistency is going to do for you. And consistency gives big returns. It's the small things that you do every day that builds and compounds into that bigger goal, that life goal, right, of freedom. Okay. And then finally, the 5th pillar is execute immediately. Learn and execute immediately. I put it together because learning and execution should be like this. Do not be the person that watches this video and just sits here for an hour and listens to me talk. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna take some notes and do something with it. No, I want you to be the person that says, pause. Okay, let me go do it real quick. Come back to the video. What she said? Okay, pause. I'm going to go do it real quick. That is immediate execution, immediate. So when I just talked to you about market research and I was showing you those properties, that would have been a good time to pause. Let me look up my market. Pause. Let me see some other markets, okay? And then come back to the video. Immediate execution. So if you can do those 5 pillars, even if you can just do it just for a short amount of time, just a month, I guarantee you, you will not recognize yourself after. Okay, that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up day 2. Here's some things that we have coming up in the days to come. We are going to deep dive into market research. We are going to compare some of the markets that you guys may have sent me, and we're going to talk about your virtual team because likely your market will be outside of your comfort zone, right, in your area, and we need to get your virtual team up and going. We're going to talk about different types of loans. We're going to do some deal analysis together. We'll talk about your buy box. We'll get into certifications and inspections for Section 8 and just for any rental properties that need to be registered. We'll go through virtual walkthroughs, how to do repair estimates virtually so that you can get an idea of how much those repairs are going to cost you and what you should be charged by your GC. We're going to get into tenant screening, tenant vetting, different types of vouchers. And then day 7 is the actual blueprint day. That's where you get to talk to me in a session. If you signed up for the Q&A, bring all of your questions. If you signed up for that, you'll be meeting with me one-on-one also, and you're going to leave there with your blueprint to freedom. And it's going to include everything from all of these days, plus extra checklists, forms, systems, just things that I know will help you along your way. And if you're interested, of course, I'd love to be the person helping you do it. I've done it several times, bringing people just through this just very easy freedom route, and just one property is enough to do it. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow on day 3. Don't forget your homework for today. Okay, we're gonna start implementing those 5 pillars. We're going to think about our exit strategy and make sure that we know it and that we have it. And then we're also going to make sure we are not making those mistakes that we just reviewed, okay? All right, investing is as easy as ABC. Get an Ashley, get her blueprint, get her coaching. It is that easy. That is all you need. I'll see you guys next time.